Hopefully you're listening to this before your Purim Suda. If not, listen to it again before your Purim Suda, because we're going to try to set the intent and set the agenda of what the Purim Suda is going to look like. And if we do this properly, it can be the most amazing experience on the planet. It is unbelievable what the Purim Suda could provide. So let's get into some of the ideas of it. We've listened to the Megillah. We've taken down from Hashem. Hashem has given us this unbelievable this light that we've internalized, that there is nothing besides Hashem. But there's a difference between a truth that we have in our minds, one that we might recognize as an absolute truth, but what happens with that truth? We want to take it to the next level. We want this to become so real and tangible, it penetrates our heart. A lot of things penetrate our heart. Our heart is also full of good intentions. The Purim Suda is there to make it so real within us that it leads to action. That's what we're trying to do in the Purim Suda. So the Purim Suda is going to be this process where we're going to get more and more into this world, into this recognition of Einad Movadai, until that leads to action. In its natural state, without any kind of scripting, we should be able to bring ourselves to a point that we just want to jump out of our chairs during the Purim Suda. We just want to jump spontaneously. This thought and feeling and emotion converts to dancing and singing, or maybe crying or yearning or rejoicing, or any way that might express itself within you. That's the goal during the Purim Suda. We do this over food and drink, which are basically the epitome of physicality, of Gashmias. And the reason why we're doing this over food is because we're showing that even the epitome of physicality is really the epitome of spirituality. It's really Ruchnias, because there is nothing besides Hashem. There is no food that has its own independent pleasure outside of the world of Hashem. The pleasure that we get out of food is the divine light. It is the pleasure of Hashem. It's dressed up as food. So when we're eating it on Purim, we're trying to translate. I'm eating this delicious food, I'm having a great time, but really what I'm rejoicing in is the pleasure of being with Hashem. This is really something we could do all year round, but it's very hard to do. But on Purim, we have a special capacity to do this. The most ideal way to go through this whole experience is with family and friends. And the reason for that is because the more you start seeing this inner world and you start realizing that Hashem is everything, we're mevatel ourselves to Hashem. It's not about us. We're nullified. It's all Hashem. Then we realize it's not just me that's batel to Hashem. It's everybody around me as well. Every single person around us is also a messenger of Hashem. So we look at their soul and we realize that their neshama is one thing only. It is the child of our Father. It is the child of the King, our brother and sister. That's who that Jew in front of us is. And that's what we're going to start to see them as we realize that all of their external actions, even things that they might do, in their chitzonius and their actions that might bother us, is really just playing a role in being a messenger of Hashem. But in the essence of what your friends are, what your family is, it's your brother, it's your sister, it's another child of Hashem. So that's why that is the best environment to do this in. So I'm sitting here with Eliot. Eliot, help us prepare. We're going into Purim Suda, which could be so much fun. And I feel like it's so easy to miss all this. How do we prepare ourselves to not lose out on this opportunity?
So let's spend a moment setting an intention that we could practice before we go into our Suda, before we go into the meal. And we're going with this theme that all of Purim really is an opportunity to receive the light of there's nothing other than Hashem. This wisdom, this knowledge, this sense that we can carry throughout the whole year, that everything is God, everything is Hashem. And throughout the year, it's very hard, very complicated for us to stay in that clarity, but we're given a gift on Purim that if we tap into, can bring so much light and real joy and happiness into our life. And we're doing that through food, and we're doing that through good times and music and dancing and friendship. And really, this is the holiest day of the year. Even Yom Kippur is the day that is like Purim. Yom Kippurim is the day that is like Purim, because in certain ways, it's easier for us to connect with God when we stay away from physicality. It's much harder for us to fulfill the true Jewish mission, which is to bring spirituality into the physicality, see that God is everywhere. So let's just take a moment right now and ask Hashem, please help us appreciate the depth of what's happening right now. This is not another silly meal that we may have where people are acting goofy, and on the outside it just looks like people are acting goofy and getting a little drunk and eating and acting silly. That's what's going on the outside. But on the inside, this is pure spirituality, the deepest level of spirituality that I'm able to feel that pleasure only comes from God. Joy only comes from my connection with Hashem. That all of the good that comes from Hashem is being delivered to us through all of these different packages, through the package of food, the package of alcohol, the package of music, the package of dancing, the package of good times with friends. But that beneath all of that is hidden our love and connection from God that we feel in our souls. And we're going to see nothing other than Hashem in all of this, and be able to bring this spirituality into our lives for the entire year.